There's a central tension when it comes to being human. I'm Melanie Elaine, woman of the bees, Buxali Jup. This is an in between space where we rest into truth. Today, I want to talk to you about a day that initially started with the search for beauty and ended with the lesson in humility. I want to talk about what happens when we use perfection to shield ourselves from the shame of being human. The river and the accident. I was at the river with a good friend of mine. The water was moving, the sun was out, and then something happened that we were taught to never talk about. My body had an accident in the water. In a split second, I went from a woman enjoying the day to a little girl drowning in shame. My body didn't ask for permission, it just reacted to the cold, the pressure, and released to the earth. The nearest restroom was nowhere nearby. It was about a mile to 2 mile walk up the ways. We were downriver, so there was no choice but there and now to release. So if you're listening to this and you are navigating a chronic illness, or if your body is transitioning towards the end, you know this feeling. The feeling that your vessel is some sort of faulty thing. But let me tell you what the water told me. The river doesn't judge. It handles all that is offered to it. It handles the waste of the deer, the birds, and the fish. It took my mess, my excrement, and just kept flowing. The shame was mine, but it wasn't the river's. The switch. Now, this is where the armor went up. As soon as we gathered ourselves, even though my friend initially asked me if I wanted to speak about this, I played it off. I covered it. I even went to go play in the water, like as if everything was okay. But as soon as we gathered ourselves out and away from the water, away from the emotional body, away from the vulnerability, away from the exposure, away from the imperfect moment, I needed grass to collect the soiled tissues I had used to wipe myself that I initially left on the bank of the river, so I can then throw it away. I was feeling exposed, tender from earlier. We hadn't left immediately after the incident, so there was time to marinate in this. My inner jaguar came out to protect me. I started nitpicking, saying to her, "Is that grass or is it weeds?" As if she didn't know what that was. As if she didn't know the difference. And then in that moment, I caught myself. I was sure that I wasn't going to do that again. I was sorry. I called myself out in front of her and I said, "My bad. I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry." But then I did it again. I corrected my friend while we were at a snow cone stand. That was about 5 minutes away from the river. I was so focused on being right because I felt so wrong inside. I was using perfection as a yoke to pull myself out of the mud of my own embarrassment. I said again, in frustration, that I was sorry and I wanted to crunch down why I was doing this. My friend's silence was her way of calling me out. She saw the nitpicking for what it was: shame, in a costume. When we try to control the world around us, those and others around us, it's usually because we feel out of control in ourselves or in our own environment. The elder wisdom of accountability. My friend, thankfully, she reminded me I was a yelder, which is a young elder. To be a yelder isn't to be perfect. It is to be brave enough to say, "I hurt you because I was hurting." It's about taking that yoke of perfection off your neck and letting the little girl, the little boy who was taught to be perfect, finally to be able to rest in that mess. As for you all, my brothers and sisters, in the in betweens of illness, your symptoms aren't your fault. I want you to be reminded of that. Your biological reactions are not moral failures. You are allowed to be messy. Even though I didn't grant myself that in that moment, that was the medicine behind it. You are allowed to be a broken vessel that still holds the sweetest honey. May I share a closing blessing before we close this out? Those of you who are still here, I want to thank you for still being present in this message. May you let the river take your shame today. May you stop nitpicking the people in your life and just breathe. You are enough, even when you are leakier, when you are messier than you plan to be for today, this week, this season. Until next time, rest. We'll talk again soon.